Thank you. Right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And good evening, those that are joining online. My name is good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening again. My name is Pitshou. I'm an associate professor here at the University of Auckland in the School of Electrical Engineering. So it's my pleasure to welcome you all to the President's lecture that will be delivered in a few minutes. And we really apologize for the delay, and I see a lot of anxiety in terms of getting to listen to the lecture. But before I do that, I will call upon the President, Mr. Prince Moyo, to actually introduce the speaker. Mr. President.
Thank you, Professor Pitshou. I'm not too sure whether the volume carries for the colleagues online. It's okay. Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. So the introduction has been made, and the apology. Thank you very much for joining us, colleagues, this evening. It's the annual President's Invitation Lecture. We are trying to get back to ways of doing things like we used to some years ago. So this is the first in-person in 3 years. And we are happy that you could make it. It's certainly still lingering in people's minds, this concept and idea of getting together in great numbers, but slowly we need to pretend. So we know the theme for the year, which is set by my inaugural address earlier this year, which was to say we would like to look at the whole area of information and analytics and its contribution to decision making in business, whether it's traditional businesses and value adding through information and analytics, or in fact it's from an entrepreneurial angle. And you remember from the inaugural address that both examples were covered in terms of productivity improvements in existing enterprises, as well as how information and analytics is spurring on entrepreneurship and innovation in the form of setting up new companies. Very low barriers to entry. As we said, most of these unicorns and tech giants started in people's garages. And we gave lots of examples of people that got loans from moms and dads and uncles and set up companies, stuck with their idea over the years, and have certainly made a success of themselves. And of course, we made the example of Amazon and the example of Take a Lot in South Africa, which are e-commerce enterprises. But again, lots of other examples, especially for the young ones and the students. Don't underestimate your idea. The funny thing is that a lot of these guys who become billionaires through the tech route actually did not finish their studies. But I'm not giving you ideas. I'm not giving you any ideas. But just do your own homework. Look at the richest tech billionaires, and you will certainly find that a lot of them did not, in fact, complete their studies. But it's through that kind of passion that sees a vision in an idea and actually is tenacious enough to forego the immediate. And that's what happens with tech and entrepreneurship. So we are continuing on that theme, and we are very happy that Charles Molapisi has actually been very forthcoming and has agreed to share with us how MTN is contributing to make these dreams a reality. So just to introduce Charles, he's the MTN South Africa CEO, having been appointed early this year. He oversees the entire OPCO operating company, I suppose that is, with 16 executive members reporting to him. He joined MTN in 2009 and he's worked in Nigeria, Zambia, in roles of Chief Information Officer and CEO. He was voted the CEO of the Year in 2018 across all 21 operating companies. And under his leadership, MTN Zambia was voted the best operating company for 2018. He has worked for Telkom and BIOGRAPHY before. And during 2018 and 2019, I think those were very good years for you, Charles, before this call with him. Africa Com Awards ceremony, Charles received the CXO of the Year award. So that's a C-suite award, and you can be a C-suite executive. He holds an MBA from UNISA. Good choice. Postgraduate diploma in business management from UKZN and a BCom degree from VETS. And additionally has completed several strategy and talent courses with the Harvard Business School, Columbia Business School, and the Institute of Management Development in Switzerland. His topic, I think we have seen it in the introduction and in the advertising, that tells us that MTN is one of the largest information assets, and I think globally I can say, because MTN is a global organization. We're currently processing 26 billion records a day. And in line with their MTN Ambition 2025 strategy, they are looking at exploring data assets, not only as a data-driven organization, but also to create value through new revenue streams, as well as serve and anticipate customer needs. And Charles will share with us how the organization is aligned its business strategy and data strategy to leverage artificial intelligence through machine learning models, predict a number of business scenarios, including customer behavior prediction, data monetization, and fraud prevention. Charles, over to you.
Good evening, good evening. Oh my God. Good evening. That's much better. Prof, let me thank you. Let me thank you for the opportunity to be here. Let me also thank the President, Prince Moyo, and the rest of the colleagues here. You have heard that I was at VETS. I stayed at the rest called EOH. I don't know many of you who knows that. Oh, you know that? And I had a lot of friends who were doing engineering. So I understand what the mess you guys went through. You know, and I have so much respect for the discipline, and so much respect for the people who have gone through it. I've seen a lot of guys, I mean, pretty much the bunch of guys in the group that I knew in the chem eng and the electrical really never even came through the course. So I understand the significance of the kind of career that you have chosen, and also the difficulty that comes with it, you know. So I have so much respect for all of you here tonight. Let me start saying that I did a very easy BCom degree, you know, you can pass it without even reading. I'm going to talk about the MTN story, and I'm going to try and be as practical as I can be. You know, you see me here, I call myself, or I've been called, the Chief Extra Mile Officer. You might want to understand what does that really mean. You know, I honestly believe in the principle of going the extra mile. You know, I'm motivated by the book, The Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell. You know, and I understand that it's less crowded than the extra mile, you know, and I really believe in that. And I think many of you are at the extra mile because truly there's very few of you. I mean, in the final year of the electrical engineering class, there'll be few of you, and only extra milers make it, you know, truly, you know. So Chief Extra Mile Officer, MTN SA CEO. I'm going to talk about the value creation through analytics. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about this company so that, you know, you can appreciate the scale of MTN. I'm here with my Chief of Staff, Brighton. So he'll take all the difficult questions, all the technical questions, you know, during Q&A session. The organization for H1, we reported 4.4% total revenue growth, you know, total. But there is what we call service revenue, which is the revenue we make from the provision of service, not the revenue we make from the selling of devices, because part of our business is service and also is devices, equipment. In some of the financial statements, you see equipment layer. There's a total revenue, and the service is purely on service. 20 billion rands, 4.1 growth on a YTD basis. Our data revenue grew about 14.5%. We think is decent, and that's 9 billion rand. EBITDA 2.9% growth relative to the previous half of last year. And we also pride ourselves, I think, as a business, you know, the MTN SA business as the master cash generator for the group. Solid cash generating business. Very, very proud about that. You know, the flagship operation within SA. Our customer base, I mean, look, we're number 2 in the market, so this is not the leading number, but 35 million South Africans on a 90-day active basis trust us as the provider of service. Market share at 30.38. A lot more work we need to do in that particular space as a business. What you call ADS is active data subs. You can have data subs and you can have active data subs. And let me explain. So we look at the level of usage and we reclassify you. So if you are a 1 MB user in a month, 2 MB, those accidental users, we don't count them. So we call active data users, we use a threshold. You can use 5 MB or you can use 10 MB in a month. Then it's only then we take you as a proper intentional user of data, not accidental. So we call those ADS, active data users. Of course, we do network promoter score. And those who use the red network, I feel sorry for you because our net promoter score was 2.5 ahead. And we're the best network in this country by all measures, whether it's my broadband, whether it's a Google. So you can still swap. And I encourage you to do so. It does, in his pocket, it does, you know. So let me talk about what am I going to talk about tonight and what am I here to share with you. I've been tasked to provide practical cases of why does analytics matter? Why do we have to do analytics as a business? And I'll give you the MTN story. I'll tell you where does opportunity lie? What is out of the possible? What have we been able to do as a business as MTN? And of course, you know, practical, real use cases that you can take home, frameworks and models that you can use in your own business. At the high level, what is the MTN strategy? What do we stand for and what do we want to achieve? There's a strong belief in our business, very, very strong belief. You know, we believe that everybody deserves the benefits of a modern connected life. And the point here is everybody. It's not just the people in this room, the people in the cities. It's in my village where I come from. They also deserve the benefits of a modern connected life. They deserve the benefits of using data, using fintech services, being able to go on Facebook, being able to do fintech and going to banking apps. That's at the core belief of what we do. And of course, the strategic intent, what do we want to achieve? When we say it's when, you know, all is said and done, how will we say we're successful? We say that our ambition 2025, when we get to that particular milestone, we'll say we've become the leading digital solutions for Africa's progress. And we take ourselves, and here I'm talking from a group context, as the Pan-African player. And all we want to do, we like the metrics of growth. We like the market share gains. We like the EBITDA growth. We like all of those things, margin improvement, margin expansion, market share gains, and growth. But at the core of it all is social impact. Social impact. And that's what I'm excited about, I think, in my role. Sorry. Oh, okay. The video isn't working. It says your video isn't working. Couldn't access your camera. Okay. I think guys are using this. Okay, so what do you want to do?
It won't be in a picture because we're sharing my screen.
Okay. So
yeah, let's continue. We just want to put the camera on.
To put the camera, but it's on there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I continue?
Yes,
You
please.
sure?
Sorry.
Okay. So I say that ambition 2025, we say we want to be the leading digital solutions provider for Africa's progress. And I talk about social impact. And myself being a rural boy, I understand the impact of tech in the context of my society and the people that I come from, and hence the concept of Africa's progress. And the strategic priorities that we have is that in 2025, we will build the largest and the most valuable platforms. They won't just be big, but they'll be valuable. And we're very clear that will drive the industry-leading connectivity operations with a very clear place around fiber railroads, across the continent that we want to build. And we're equating fiber deployment just like, building rails during the previous, industrial revolution when they had to lay down physical rails. We believe that this revolution, this one, the rails equivalent is laying down a backbone and terrestrial fiber across the continent. And we're very clear about our role in that. And of course, shared value, which is at the core of our business. Shared value means that in every market where we operate, in societies where we operate, we want to share value and want to create value for everybody else, whether it's enterprise, supply development, whether it's localization. In many markets in the continent, we will continue to do that. And then, of course, there's something aside in terms of the entire portfolio of MTN, which I won't go into that. Vital enablers. We have, leading customer experience as a vital enabler. And I'll talk later about how data and analytics provides capabilities for customer experience. Best talent, I'll talk about that in terms of people and all of that. And of course, the values. But if you look at the far right on vital enablers, if you can see it, you can see technology platforms second to none. And I'll touch on that as well in the context of analytics. Why is that important? Now, okay. I don't know what Madame did to my presentation. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, anyway, we'll figure out as we go along. I honestly and sincerely believe that the future is about software and the curiosity to create new business models. Full stop. Full stop. And I think, the president spoke about it, that truly the future is all about software. But then the limitation will be, are you curious enough? If you are a young lady, a young man working or studying towards this degree, that can you build software? The question is, once you build it, what can you do with it? That's really the fundamental thing that I believe. That the future, the current and going forward, particularly as we move into 5G, and we start to open this into APIs, and I'll touch on that as well. The future is nothing else, software and the curiosity to create new business models. So if you are here today and you are studying towards a degree and you're thinking about building your own businesses, here's my advice. Software development and engineering skills, financial acumen to be able to create value. I think you're done. If you can be able to stitch different parameters of software and can build that and create commercial constructs, done. But all of these things, at the core of it, is data exchange. All data exchange. Whether it's Uber exchanges data, Facebook exchanges data. I mean, think about Twilio, think about all the top tech companies, but even everyone, think about the Amazon, think about the tech. It's data exchange. It's all orchestration of data, tons and tons of data being exchanged. You know, I was talking to Brad and I said I wanted to talk about data haulage, backhauling, and of data. He said no to me. No, haulage is like one way. Let's say exchange, but the principle is the movement and the exchange of data on a daily basis. So software and new business models, what you'll be doing with all of that, you'll be exchanging, yes, no, this parameter is right, this parameter is not accurate, this location is correct, this payment has gone through. Okay, that's it. The goods is available, it's not available. The book is there, it's not available. This customer threshold pricing must change to this. If you look at what Uber does on peak season, they've built ML capabilities. They know when there's a big concert, and they've done algorithms at the back end. They know when to uplift prices. No human interference. They've triangulated the data so much. They built intelligent models to be able to make decisions on the fly and create new pricing frameworks and value creation just like that. And that is the power. Just the ability to be able to exchange and create new business models. And I'll talk about what MTN specifically is doing, and I'll tell you about our platform strategy, what they are, and how data is making all of that possible. I'm going to use this because I can't see very easily here. Why analytics matters. This is a framework for what Moyo says to us. They say that top drivers to adopt analytics. Revenue growth, very easy for us. I'll show you in terms of what they do in terms of customer value management. They call it CVM, base management, acquisition, optimization, operational efficiencies, asset efficiency, cash flow, inventory management. The top drivers of analytics. And you can only do this if you can build algorithms. I'll give you a very quick example. When we're discussing moving to the cloud, moving to the cloud, and I think it was JP Morgan, they said to us, but you guys, we're taking all the data, all the entire huge inventory, and you're handing it over to a hyperscaler. And they said, that's not value accretive. Because what's going to happen? We're going to give them all this big thing. This huge answer, you think you're just hosting, and then they're going to build algorithms on top of that data to create models for you. In essence, the value they're getting from that is far above what you're thinking very quickly. Because then they're going to train their models and algorithms and tune them appropriately to be able to generate data. That's what we talk about, the value of data and algorithms and models that you use to be able to unlock them. Expectation, quality of data to support operational excellence. I mean, everyone who's in business knows this. Everyone who's in business knows exactly what this says. Controls, governance, effectiveness, and data security. Practical adoption consideration. What do you have to do to make this work? Maturing analytics capability. What did we do as MTN to build that? How did we make sure that we are maturing the scale and we're building ability intelligence in that? Each case is directly its value, levers, and is prioritized according to critical objectives. So when you run an algorithm in the business, and you're running a particular use case using data, the question is that what is expected in generation? And I'll give an example. If you are on MTN, you have what we call CVM. CVM are those price points that you're pricing in terms of this guy, and this guy, and this guy. You know, the red guys calling the jump for you. If you're on red, you will know what I'm talking about. You go there, you find the position. You know, you're telling this is 3 reds, but he's telling this is 3.5. Because the algorithm has tested you. And it is formulated whether you're a good player, a bad player, and they know which well in the money. Because one in your account, they tended the behaviors and they priced you according to your behavior. They know how many calls you make and how many calls you make to which village. They know how many people send people's call you. We know that. And then when you got all of them, how then do I tell you and how, which offer do I throw to you? That will make sense to you. Take the summer. You buy a book, they tell you about a ton of money for the book. They've been looking at it all the time. They check my patterns. What is browsing and all of them. Airlines do the same thing. Revenue management. It's a power. So at the end of the day, with proper data management, this whole issue about headline pricing disappears. It's an industry. We start to price bespoke price models, and we call it the segment of one. Before we have 10 deciles, 100 deciles, whatever you can call them, but now we're going to personalize offering bespoke propositions, the segment of one. You can only do that if your data skills make sense. You can only do that, and if you cannot do it, you cannot continue. So it talks about increased business ownership and responsibility. I'll show you how we have done it to get buy-in in the business, to build a practice. Realistic and agreed expectations of result timelines. This one doesn't talk to me. Me, I'm unrealistic in my approach. So I don't buy the realistic one. I'm always over demanding in terms of what I expect my team to deliver. But I guess that gives you the context that in your own business and in everything that you do, whether you're setting up a startup, protect your data and collect as much data as possible. It doesn't matter what it is. When you move into a market, I don't care whether you're selling tomatoes, cabbage, you're fixing shoes. I don't care. Collect as much data as possible without worrying what you're going to do with it. Don't worry about that. There's piles and piles and piles of parameters about the customer. Just collect it. You will see over time the patterns will start to emerge. The patterns start to emerge, start to manipulate and build this new models. Okay, I've got this one. Now I need location from someone. I need a payment integration method. Boom, I'm going to put up. So that is a framework. There are other industries that talks about this. It's a very busy slide, and this is a presentation we're likely to have. So we might remove some of the things that we think are confidential, but the rest of it, if it makes sense to you, if you like to have it, I talk about it, you can just do it. You, all of you know this. I don't need to tell you. I don't need to tell you this. Look at this. I mean, look at the case studies. Look at the benefit benchmarks. Revenue growth, operating margin, asset efficiencies. So when I'm running with this, I look and say, what is my data going to do in terms of revenue uplift? What am I going to do? Is what I have. Then they tell me, say, no, look, the margin is under pressure. There's a margin contraction. I can only solve the problem through proper analytics. What's going on with my customers? Many devices I sell. Many of you sit in this room buying devices either from the red guy or MTN. And many of those devices are sold at single margin. In most cases, negative margin. Yeah, most of them. It's only the premium devices, the Samsung S22 or the S22 Plus. Those ones with incredible margin. But there are a huge number of devices. If we were to price them up, customers will not be able to afford. So take a little bit of a hit on those devices. And you have to balance your SKUs to go to media. Because you need to say, okay, this month I'm going to sell maybe a little bit more of this premium and a bulk of this things, and I'm going to come back at much neutral. Or I need to take a hit of -1. But that -1 probably trading them. Not so. So that kind of finesse, knowing, okay, no, we move from day they like this kind of device. Let's give them this device. But we're selling more in waterproof, they love their Samsung because we see the pattern of usage on the network and the towers. We give that. And then we see the profile, the spending profile. If you come from that group, you know how much you spend. You can say, okay, he recharges every month. Every month, we can recharge for 2,000. He's a good customer. Then we can price up a little bit. That's the power of analytics. That's now operating margin optimization. That's the power of analytics. This is what we do on a daily basis. Let me tell you about the South African telco market. This is not a high growth market. No, this is a single digit growth market. Ghana is growing at 35%. They're growing the voice business at 23%. I don't think there's any company in the world that's growing the voice at 23%. Nigeria is growing data revenue at 50%. Not yet. Here's an ultimate red ocean. And the only way you can win is just a game of inches. Just inch by inch, in a way, get the competition. Find that little, just little revenue. I always tell people, my brother, to say, do you know how many recharges and how many scratch cards we have to sell to make 50 billion rand by the end of the year? Tons. A lot. We connect every month, we call them cross connections. So these are customers who come about and have new customers, new CV number. You don't do that from one place to another. I'm only changing numbers. One day I'll this number, tomorrow this number. What's wrong with 100 the same number? They're chasing them because the SIM comes with 50 MBs. If you recharge for 12 brands, then they buy this one, 12 brands recharge, 50 MBs, throw it away. And so there's a nature of the market, professional chain. Only the Washington machine effect. In that whole tool, there's a constant base, a steady customer. Those who doesn't like their numbers to be changed. They're used for business. But I receive my video, came to the minds, with a new life. So we connect almost over 2 million customers every single month. 2 million. I want to look at the next that we get out of problem. Awful. Very little. Very little the net number. The chain versus the inflow. And what we end up with. Because they are always chasing value. They move from sales to tomorrow, then they go sales to MTN, Bokoro, they know the offers, they'll tell you, no, there's a power hour at this one, now MTN gives result. The only way you're going to win in this kind of red ocean is data. The only way. The minute we jump and we pick you up, and we know the device because we know what we call the IMSI, the identification of the device, we can see that this IMSI is the same, but the SIM card is different. The guy is from the SIM. Well, off I do. No, we don't care. We know how to get it. We go out for 3 months, and then hope that we can keep it on the network. And every month you see just before the month end or before you because our churn model says after 90 days we put out the networks. We go to government. Data tell that so the algorithm will tell us the capacity churn is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we say no, he's a safe guy. This guy, he's a steady guy, he's paying his bill, he's happy, but this one, watch out. The capacity is high. Stimulate the customer. Ask him if you can do an offer. That's how it is. And I think that's what we want to essentially. Airlines do the same thing. Every industry. But here in South Africa, there is not any competitive market on telecoms in this continent like this one. Deal with the best of the best that we are. Have over-penetrated market, rotational channel. But it will not go. Go and study the. No, let me not give you too much. I said go study the financials. You will see and study the pattern of connections and market share flow. It will teach you a lot about how customers come in and out of the network. If you read it extensively and you understand it, you'll see it's there in terms of the annual results. So just to give you a sense, because it's only when you understand the complexity of the industry, then you can attach the meaning of data and value. Very, very, very important. Let me pivot now and try and bring it home as I move quickly to try and close. We say as MTN that we want to build platforms. We say we want to build platforms for Africa's profits, the leading digital platform provider for Africa's profits. What are those platforms? The companies structure this way now. Today we've got the base layer. The base layer is the voice and data business. This is the base. This is where we started. Simple data. I call it naked data. You know, like just buying a bundle. You're not buying a service. You're buying the means to get a service. You know, so there's the base layer, voice and data. Core business, very margin activity. The voice business is super margin. So you got voice and data base layer. Okay. We say we want to take that, and then on top of it, we want to put these verticals. With the fintech business, which is called the mobile money business. We're about over 60 million subscribers, I think over there today. So the fintech business in Zambia, where I used to be, today contributes 26% contribution to the revenue base. As a GSM player, think about it. 26% revenue contribution. It's no longer GSM network base. It's fintech, P2P, money movement, remittances, loans, micro. 26%. Ghana is 30%. Massive platform. So we're going to take this platform and package it and isolate it and create a separate vertical for fintech. So one key. First platform. Second platform, we've got an app called Ayoba. I hope you know about Ayoba. If you don't know about it, it means we're not doing our job. We'll get it. But essentially what we're trying to do is to be the WhatsApp of the super app. Tough thing to do. Very, very tough. But the guy can tech service between us to do that, and I think we're really then trying to very, very tough. Again, enterprise services. Enterprise is very clear, you know about it. Enterprise would be anything. It could be either mobile voice and data, it could be ICT, it could be cloud, UCC, and all of that. And then what we call network security. This one, you can give it many definitions, but a simplified definition is like today the SLC traffic, 60% certified bank. So for them to report, for them to stay that way, they say don't need all this equipment to manage, it's too much. You know, let's run on some other best network and the attributes, they become like us. We just can't be asked, but they can become that. Okay, and then we've got this is the business that I created when I was in the CTO, Chenosis. Still very, very able. But I'll use it to demonstrate the point I'm trying to make. Chenosis is an API marketplace. And with this business, my vision has always been that we want to be the biggest exchange of data in the continent. Location API, payment API, mobile money API, headcount property API, any API that you can think of it in the world. License, interpretation, look up into the government database, come to our website, do integration, go into a sandbox, test your logic, and you have it. That's what you want to do. Still very nascent, but I'm super proud because I understood very early on that in the future, the level of connectedness is just going to just increase. And we're going to do so through nothing else but APIs. This is what the banks have done. You know what banks have done? Many of you understand it, but banks run big industrial scale platforms, core banking platforms, on mainframe still. But it becomes smart. You put an API there on top. There must be. They need those what we call the system of records. They expose their capability to APIs in the industry. You know, so that's what we're trying to build. So that is when people say MTN is building platforms, that's what we're trying to create. Verticalized, software-based, and all of these things at their core, when all is said and done, the fintech solution business is nothing else but a data monetization game. You guys room and not to do business. And the core of it all, I'll give a quick use case. Loans. You know, micro loans. When I was done, we also for micro loans. 20 rands, 15 rands. So in the morning, people rush. If you don't have money for petrol or you don't have money for a taxi, we check your logic, we check on the system, I qualify for 20 rands. You can make withdrawal at the taxi rate that are yours. You can make withdrawal of the loans, apply. Because we already approved you. Not big loans, 15 rands, 20 rands, go on the bus, buy bread, get a loan. But the scoring logic behind it is data. The logic behind it of who you are, where you live. And we know that people, some reason, people in Zambia used to withdraw, used to make more loans on the Thursday around BPM. I don't know why. And I think if we did a proper research, we'll try to understand why, the behavioral aspect of it. But every Thursday, the rate of loans just went up. So when we have that kind of level of analytics, the minute the trend goes out, you stimulate it. And the minute we get close to the taxi rate, because we know, the person is power. He might be going to the courts now, he's getting endorsement because his path every day at 5 o'clock is no street to Shawega. He's going to an offer. No big rents, 585 grand. No big event. For an offer. That's a power, what data does. So that's the fintech platform. When all is said and done, it is nothing else but this information. And there are many use cases. Many use cases. I reveal my secret. I tell you how we make this. So we go to Oliven. You know what Oliven? Who goes to Oliven? Yeah, go to Oliven, we test the Oliven cards, we run the Oliven, and want to see the people who live there. Who do they call the most? Because normally people, when they get Oliven, coming from the Bokoro, they'll call their brother. Don't necessarily be normally. You'll find a little community there. Those communities, when you check them properly, there's one particular village that they all call, or key surrounding villages that they all call, or they get a piece community from them. You don't know. Now, I come to us and say, Mr. So and so, send money to Bokoro. I want to say send money to who? I'm saying send money to Bokoro. You know, how is that? You know? So, because if I say send money, it's okay. But man, if I say send money to Bokoro, you said to me send money to Park, where I come from, to my village. Man, that's what to me. Because what? They've seen that my sister, because they don't call, they just please call me. They've seen that On average, in a month, I get about 50 please call me from one person who sees on this particular tower. For the past 3 months, there must be connection. There must be love there. There must be something. So we still believe in saying no. Someone got money, someone. You want to know? And all of it is just a. There's a thing that and they're all like that. You know that. They're all like that. I mean, think about how people are giving Facebook, and I do it. How people are throwing their own data giving it to Facebook for free. They see their smile and say, oh my, we can't believe these people. They're just telling us where they go, their holiday scores, their location, their friends are telling them. Imagine people voluntarily sharing people. You're not even asking anything. Just voluntarily. I live here. Here's my friends. I like to go to holiday in this place. Every Friday I go here because I like to post my mail in this particular place, and so I take the location. And then they take that thing, they run the automated models, and they put strong advertising frameworks behind it. And they kill it. And they kill it. That's why people talk about the next phase, using blockchain, where we can start to own our own data and start to get a share of what we are sharing. But they don't know. I mean, I go on LinkedIn, I say all manner of things. I'm sure they like me. They say, I have to comment about this. Then they run an algorithm on my post. If you get that the language I use, that's not. And they profile. And the power of data analytics. I mean, I can go on and on. So this is what we're doing. So enterprise, network as a service, scoring, I spoke about it. Network optimization. We test. We call it the sleeping cells. We test if the cell is busy. We test if the spectrum is utilized. Move to 3G, move to 4G, optimize. Bring the network to sleep. And manage the power. So when you get the tower in the village, you say, this tower, the revenue generation is not so good. The traffic is not so good. After 10, there's only one call between 10 p.m. and 5. Only one call, the thing to sleep. Same power. You can only do that. The power for it. That's optimization. So there are tons and tons, and I mean, I don't mean to educate you about this. I'm just sharing our story. There's nothing new that I'm telling you. I'm just contextualizing the MTN story so that I can bring the message home for you. I'm going to move quickly now because I'm moving to an hour. This is a model that anybody here can take and they can use. It's not my model. This is sourced from outside. If you want to go revenue growth, customers, marketing and sales, it gives you a use case and a framework. If you're running a business, you want to build a business, okay, operating margin, I need channel, I need this, so it just gives you a framework to guide you on how you can shape your calls around exploitation of data. I'm going to try and move fast, colleagues. And then you've got MTN Analytics Roadmap. And I hate to admit it, we're still building. But very, very fast. We're still building. First of all, 3 to 12 months. Think inside the box. Where did we start? Establish the BICC. And I mean, it's practical things that we need to do. The BICC is the Business Intelligence Competency Center. The center of all the governance, anything data. Because if you don't govern, talk about one center in terms of rules, definition, defining a student profile, defining this thing, you need to analyze logic. Many, many things. Information on platforms. Then implementation of what we call data as a service. Many, many other things. Standards, definitions, KPIs, definition. You need the competency. You need a center that orchestrates them. If they don't approve a definition, it doesn't function. Like a simple definition of saying, what is an active data customer?
What is a subscriber? Must document have crystallized, properly defined. Future fit, mature big data environment, 5G, artificial intelligence, all the nice things everybody's speaking about, AI, deep learning, all the language that we hear on a daily basis. We're busy wrestling with that as a company. Positioning ourselves to fix these things. We have much more data set. And it's hard work. Because the volumes of data are too much. And the sources are multiple sources of data. And you have to speech eventually, because what we want to be able to do is to take the data from a traditional call, pick the data from Facebook, pick the data from take a log, pick the data from credit bureau. This is massively. It makes sense. Everybody's trying to do the same thing, all of this, and can only listen through what APIs. API called, who's this guy? Then your ID number, they allow that's the eventual state that everybody is going to go to. And then from there we pass. And not the viewing of people's information, but 0, 1. Is this a subscriber? Yes. Do you know him? Yes or no? That's it. And then build models. So massive orchestration, personalized pricing, dynamic proposition development, my favorite. The minute you change behavior, change the people. You know other MNOs, you know what they used to do that? The rate that you are charging your other device. Because the more frequent you charge your device, it shows that you are due for an upgrade. The thing is clear. That logic alone. They used to do that. Then they start to say, don't you think you like to have iPhone 14 that just came out yesterday, because they've tested to say a normal iPhone, the recharge battery life is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've tested it. They know the minute you just something has gone wrong. Even offer.
Not load shedding.
Our model was not built for load shedding. So as I move to close, I mean, 3 more slides quickly. I'm going to tell you so fast. I mean, again, I spoke about the BICC, owned and permanently staffed by the organization. Permanent performance centralized structures supported by executive management with buy-in. That's what we did in the group and in the OPCOs. Supports and promotes effective use of information for decision making from BI and increasing the return on investment. They look out for that. They govern, they create structures, responsible for building plans, priorities, infrastructure, competencies, developing and implementing the enterprise BI strategy and development, the role of the BICC. And I can tell you can fight anything you like. If you don't build this thing, you're not going to win. You just tire yourself. You just burn calories, you're not going to win. Data lake, kinds of stuff. So, what's our journey looking like? 2019, a lot of zeros. Data capability maturity, records ingested, data feeds. You know, if you talk to a number of companies, ask them how many parameters we have about a customer. Just ask them. How many parameters we have? There's companies that have mastered this thing, but for thousands and thousands of parameters, about 1%. That is now the goal that you want. Where you live, what you eat, where you go. Okay. Data feeds, parameters. But moving time, we need to reach for making progress. A lot more that we still need to do to be able to achieve our ambition. This is how the picture looks like so far. Very busy slide. This one you don't have to worry about. These are MTN numbers. You can build your own numbers in your own business. But this just shows you the scale of what we're trying to do. 13 GBs per minute, 3 field records per month. We're ingesting them into a central data lake across the markets. We do so many things with that. Cost of sales improvement, EBITDA improvement, machine learning, chatbot that we're building in Nigeria, practical stuff that we're using to be able to drive this through analytics. As I close, is that in a world of more data, the companies with more data literate people are the ones that are going to win. You can try all the models, we can do everything. If you don't have the skill, you don't have the people. Because the tech is there. We can all buy the same tech. We can all buy the same customization model from Oracle. But you have the sharp-minded electrical engineering students from UJ. True. To dissect this data and make sense of it, to see beyond just the numbers, to have a sense, and that's where you win. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to take Q&A. Thank you very much.
For the year very carefully, and thank you for giving us some practical examples. Any specific questions you would like, clarifications you would like?
Yeah, I'd like to take omnibus fashion. So if someone can borrow me a pen, if you don't mind, say, so that I can write and take 3 or 4 questions all at once and then answer omnibus fashion.
Thank you, Past President Hoffman. For your pen, you are first.
We have 2 questions. Very thank you for a great presentation. The first question is, we've just gone through a global pandemic, and there must have been some trends evident in customer behavior that you've been able to analyze. What happened during the pandemic that you noticed on the network, and has anything changed? Second question, you're collecting a lot of data. I think there's a saying that says that to do much is given, much is required. You have all of this data, besides using it for building the business of MTN and creating value for your shareholder. What are you doing for society systemically? As Sipho goes from MTN taxi rank to Chaiwala and you're offering 20 Rand loan, there must be a reason for that loan. People need data. People need data in Untwanumi. People need data in Polokwane. How are we going to use this information that we have to make sure the people in Waterkloof and the people in the rural areas are getting a fair deal here?
Yeah. You should have warned me that there are professors in Now I'm a little bit intimidated, but
with professors, you can give any answer because it will be wrong anyway. You know, they have view of the world. So don't worry.
yeah, let me take that. You can take that on.
I'm going to say a third question.
Yeah.
And then we take them in threes. And
Yeah.
yes, sir, with the gray suit. And then in the next round of questions, you will first say. And then we'll take ladies.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, the name?
Eric.
Eric. Okay.
Just your thoughts around data privacy and regulation. You're getting a lot of data from people.
Yeah.
And some people might feel distraction and much on approach you on the posting the type of data. It's bunch of thoughts around that. And secondly, just skills can be mentioned, skills capacity. What sort of where you're getting your skills, because things like data analytics, cybersecurity, that is a fairly new, those are fairly new fields, and where you're getting those skills, like international, locally, are you able to find people and training them from the training facilities?
Thank you so much. Next question.
More questions.
Yeah.
All right, let's take one online. Shandugani is online. Bulondo.
Shandugani.
Yeah, you.
Thanks, Chair.
Going to quiz you.
Thanks for.
Shandugani is online.
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and thanks for everyone who's here. The presenter, I really thank you as well. The application of the things that you're mentioning, we here at ESCOM, of course, we are currently busy with that. So my question will be, what contribution have you made in terms of the data privacy and security as you collecting so-called the big data. Have you within South African, I would not say energy regulation, but some sort of like forming the forum that will address the data security and privacy?
Yeah, I missed the point on the forum. Do you want to maybe just repeat that?
Yeah, how far is your contribution towards maybe some sort of South African a forum that will deal with the data regulation in terms of the data privacy and security?
Okay. Yeah, no, thank you so much. Sanagani, if I can start with you. I mean, and I'll take the privacy question the same as, so forgive my brother, say Kanyani. Okay, okay. Please forgive me. So there's a privacy question that you have, and Shandagani has the same privacy question. I mean, just to be frank with you, I mean, we had an expo today just for an update, and we reflected on this thing. That very often in organizations, we measure the risk, but you very rarely measure the compliance to the risk, or the policy. So it's a big obsession of ours, the privacy. I mean, we're governed, we've got POPI in South Africa, we've got, and we operate within very strict guidelines. I mean, the fact that you collect it doesn't mean that you can share it. Doesn't mean that you can expose it to anybody. We are not allowed to do that. So very, very, very strict governance issues. I mean, if we were to be found wanting in this case, we'll be in very, very serious trouble. It's understood. And in the end, it's still, a process of learning. Because of volumes of data that's available out there, it's actually quite a lot. And people are sharing. So we're learning, but governance first. That's what I'm going to say to you. Governance first. And we do our best in terms of protection. From a security perspective, there's a lot of work that's been done around securing it. In MTN, I mean, we ran a program called Marshall Plan. It's a big program we ran across the group. We spent about 2.1 billion rands in 3 years across the entire group, just perimeter hardening, all manner of processes that you can put in place to protect key platforms, segregation of duty analysis, make sure that is the right people accessing the right platforms, all sorts of stuff. So there's a lot of work around security. We've overinvested. We've centralized our security practice in the group, so we can beef it up, because if you're in Zambia, for instance, you might not find the right skills that are in South Africa. So we're making now South Africa support all other multiple markets, because in this market we can find skills. So we're enhancing that. But privacy and governance, we are under strict governance on how we behave. That's why even the API marketplace, the first thing that you have to do for every use case is to get approval from the chief risk officer about the exposure and the alignment. Very, very important. And then, Chandagan, you spoke also about the contribution to that. I think I'll challenge you that if you have an idea on how we can do it together, I'll be very happy to listen to you and to work with you. At the moment, to be honest, there is no forum. I mean, we are just formed as a telecoms after many, many years of being in existence since 1994. Only this year we launched an association of telecom operators. I mean, this is like frightening stuff, you know what I mean? So after existing for so many years and paying tax and being affected by legislation and policy frameworks, we only launched an association this year. So we're organizing ourselves. So if there's a way we can work together, I'm happy to engage on that. But so far, we've not done much in terms of the forum and a cluster or a body that we can put together. Skills, very difficult, my brother. I mean, I think a ShopRite, they've got what they call ShopRite Exchange. They're building this digital thing. And they're looking for AI, machine learning experts. Amazon wants the same people, F&B is looking for the same, Everyone wants the people who are studying the skills that you are helping, the people in this room, everybody. It is very, very difficult. So where we can buy, we buy. Where we can borrow, we borrow. Where we can grow, we grow. It's a multi-pronged. So we have a huge data science academy inside the organization. We're bringing about, I think this year, almost about 50 to 60 young people who are coming raw, and we're taking them through their paces to build the competence. You can only do it that way, and we're bringing young females, particularly black females who are disempowered. We're bringing them in to come and learn the skills, software development. We think code integration, working with a number of people. So there's a huge scramble of skills, and it's going to get worse because as we move to 5G and everything gets connected and API based, if you don't have the skills internally and you're relying on vendors, you're going to struggle to be agile. That's why now we're working on a very strong insourcing program of having our own IP and set of developers. In the past, we never used to have any development. We used to take Oracle, this one and this one, blend them into one system, then we bring an SI. SI comes in, charges tons of money, they bring the system together, and then you want to make a change of a price change in a table, just a table. Then they charge you about 2 million rands just to come and change a parameter or a UI or a skin of the app. We're changing all of them.
Yeah, and they'll sell you a solution to your competitor.
Of course, then they've done it, and then they'll charge another 2 million. So we're building that, but it's very, very difficult. I must be honest. So what we're doing, because we've got scale as a group, we're building a software development competency center to serve the entire market. So you can have hubs, South Africa hub, Nigeria hub, and then support the entire. So we concentrate because you can't in every market be investing on that. It's not going to be sustainable. So we're building the software development competency. The pandemic, Prof, the traffic pattern changed, where there used to be the peak hours, for instance. It just changed because people moved from the normal cities where they used to come and congregate. All of a sudden, they're in the houses. So you find that if your network was not optimized for that, because we know that, these guys, they leave their home at 8, they come back at 7, they're so tired, they don't work at home. So why invest on more radio expansions and capacity expansion in the suburbs? Put it in something where all of them are scrambling to get data, then they left something. Then they move to their farms, then they're in their manors. All of a sudden, the capacity starts to become a problem. Just the usage patterns start to change. The peaks start to change. We have upload measures. Now with this kind of platforms, we see much more upload profile coming in as well. So very, very, very key, but big changes. But the usage, with the challenge of the pandemic, as a sector, in all fairness, we're unfortunately, as a critical provider of service, we benefited from the level of usage. The number of students who work from home, the number of APNs we had to do, the number of reverse billing and URL-based services that we had to do for students. Tons and tons, in the thousands, because they were all of a sudden they're setting up offices at home. So massive data usage, but I'm very proud that we're able to handle it as a business. Our network is
reverse billing, if I can just, because you are touching on, I think, a social responsibility aspect there. If I recall well, you actually offered to sort of zero base and actually assist students.
Yeah, we did
so that reverse billing, I suppose, refers to that.
Yeah.
There's a student here, the usage is
correct,
but it's a student, therefore we're not going to charge
a
portion.
Is zero rating or else you use as a student, but the institution pays.
Yes.
Yeah, there's another model that we have. So UJ will say we've got so many students working from studying from home. Here the APNs, give them this, we will pay the bill, but the data threshold is 50 MBs or whatever per month. And we gave a number of stuff, we contributed a lot. Now, Prof, a bit of a challenge you've given me was that all of these things, what are we doing to empower society? I said earlier on that we want to build platforms for Africa's progress. We are not where we would like to be in terms of clear social impact. But the truth is, with what we have and we're building now, if an entrepreneur and you want to do business with MTN and pull APIs, you can. We're not going to be able to offer stuff for free. We can create platforms that enables people to integrate into a platform and make money for themselves. A simple thing, airtime top up API. If you have an app that has a payment capability,
just put airtime top-up API from MTN on your app. As long as you can take payment, just put it there. Someone who goes there for whatever reason on your app, they go there. Airtime is the biggest traffic mover. Biggest. Because people recharge 5 rand, 10 rands, 20 rands. So if you come to me and say, Charles, I want your API, I've got this little app, you know, it's a taxi app or it's a music app, but it's got payment. Just put the service there, buy talk time, recharge a friend. Just put it there and call an API from MTN directly. And just sit down. Because all you have to do, you don't have to commission and buy the airtime yourself in advance. You don't have to do that. It's a real-time thing. The customer comes in, logs in. That's what the likes of net banks and all the banks have this airtime top-up. We pay them tons of commission simply because why? They're giving us real estate access. The interface, the customer ownership and the wallet. And we pay them tons of commission. Everybody who has an app could just say, let me sell talk time. But that's just a simple use case. But we have a responsibility to do more. We're doing more in terms of education. We launched a number of initiatives around e-schools. I don't have the number for you, but very, very progressive. We met with the Premier of Gauteng, I think about 3 weeks or so ago. We are now going to set up the MTN School of Software Development because they're building these specialized schools, you know, artisan and all of that thing. What I said to them, because they build the schools and then we come on top. So I said to them, guaranteed MTN School of Software Development or MTN School of Coding, whatever. So I'll sponsor that. There's a lot more we can do in this country if you look at where we are. You know, our country needs a lot of help. One of the things that I'm personally working on and hopefully get the company support and launch it is what I call one household, one developer ambition. That by 2033, every household in this country must have a software developer. That's my ambition. Every single family, there must be someone who can write code. Because if you can write code, my dear sister, you can create an opportunity for the family. You can. Many people are doing that already today. But there's a lot of fragmented initiatives around software development. If it's up to me, I'll just call one major initiatives. I call the big corporates. I say 2033, this is what we're achieving. And this is all I'm going to be focusing on for the next 10 years. Nothing else. And we want to all cooperate. That's right. Call universities, call private sector. MTN, I want 20 million from you. I want 100 million from you. I want this thing from you. Access, laptops, data access. But the KPIs is very clear. One household, one software developer. You won't go hungry. Wonderful.
My sister, you had a question. Let's take your question. And then the gentleman was in the first round of questions. And then let me take Manda last.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
I know, you know what? Whether it's evening or as long as we feel like it's afternoon, it's afternoon. It's all a state of mind.
Afternoon, somewhere in the world.
We all operate with different time zones, you know? Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Right.
With the evolving competitive and digital customer experience, as a company, how do you work well with others, right, in new ways to deliver? And then the second question is similar to the security one.
Yeah.
How do you avoid fraudulent activities, scams, and all of that? Yeah. What technology do you use? Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Your name is, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Thanks to the citizens and the.
And you just start with your name as well.
I'm Tato Sokoli.
Tato.
Some
methods or something seems to say that not everything is worth counted. So on that, using data analytics to be able to have a predictive models. So that also speaks so for patterning signals and the noise that comes with it to be able to make some decisions. So how do you deploy the advanced science of decision making in ethical algorithms that are disruptive to the new technologies that are coming? You've mentioned an example of the iPhone that was just launched yesterday, which uses an eSIM. That means it is now trying to eliminate SIM card, like for SIM card product and service delivery. So that's a disruptive technology. That's a decentralized approach of now looking at your core operations and how you can apply different modules to be able to be at the forefront or ahead of the curve. So those are some of the disruptive technologies that they have to deal with in terms of now analytics that are now here now that we have to look into. So that now require not predictive analytics, but visionaries that are able to foresee what will happen with those ethical decision making that the algorithms will be producing. And the second question is that with regards to social engineering, how are you putting measures into place that the digital infrastructure is rolled out to be able to meet your vision that you have just said now, that every household used to have a developer. And so with regards to that, we know that you are also part of our digital council Africa. So with those combinations, how is MTN now paving a new way for an uncharted territories in developing new digital infrastructure and integrating it into a holistic system? Thank you.
Thank you, Chancho. It sounds like a topic for a PhD thesis. But I'm sure you'll be fine. Monday is last, eh?
No, we actually deployed him to demonstrate that it's smart. Mandaram, inaugural our Central Founding Center chairman, past chairman. I think there's a number of things that I think the telco space is seeing. We have seen the regulation aspect, and recently with the European Union putting new regulation to try and regulate how some of the big hyperscalers, some of the big tech giants operate. What are your perspectives around that, and how are you navigating that space? And maybe if you can touch and share some thoughts around spectrum trading, because some of that has been seen as one of the biggest constraints in cost of data, and as well as providing other services. And I think lastly, as the SAIEE, we've got people from various industries. So we are over 6,000 members strong across many industries. We have people from building data centers, people in water, people who cut our power at ESCOM as well. How do we collaborate with you in this journey that you're embarking, particularly for the social good?
Very, very tough, strong questions. Thank you so much.
Charles, if you don't mind,
please go ahead.
Just online.
Oh, okay.
To be fair to the other guys, we tend to forget that.
Yeah.
That very last one.
Okay.
And then you can take your.
No problem.
You can respond. I didn't just someone the name. It will be
Someone.
Samuel. Go for it, Samuel.
Samuel.
Yes.
Oh yes, afternoon everyone, and apologies because I struggled to connect. Maybe my question has been addressed previously, but I just wanted to find out in terms of the data science, especially tied to fraud prevention, is the algorithms or the implementations that are currently being employed now, do they show significance in reducing those numbers? Because we tend to see especially in payment, that there is quite a lot of fraud that is happening around. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Samuel.
Let me start with you, Samuel. I mean, the things we deal with. Let me tell you what happens in our stores. You know, a lady or a gentleman comes to our shop, comes with fake bank accounts, you know, fake address, fake payslip, buys 3, get 2 contracts, Samsung S22 plus 27,000 rands each, never comes back. Never comes back. And every day we work out ways. I mean, biometrics validation, you know, integration with the banks to validate the bank accounts, but it's a moving target because the guys are hard at work, just like you are hard at work trying to make a living. So Samuel, it's a very challenging task, but I think in the last 2 months, 3 months, we're beginning to see a little bit of a decline in the loss, because it's a major loss for us. If you remember, these phones, we give them to you in advance. You don't pay anything. You just walk out of the store with a phone, and we hope that you're going to be a good guy and pay your bill for the next 24 months. I mean, that's really as simple as that. And then we put a debt collector on you, we can't find you. So Samuel, I mean, we're working very hard. You know, we're putting biometrics validation, we're doing integration with multiple banks, we're building algorithms. It remains work in progress. We're bringing the right people, we're talking to banks. We've got a number of consulting companies helping us to be able to address this. I hope that makes sense to you. Manda asked about 6,000 members, how do you collaborate? Remember, you know, I worked in Nigeria as the CIO. You know, we just had the Nigeria team here coming for a athletic session, MTN Nigeria Expo and the board. You know, when I was there as a CIO, you know, I called what I call a co-creation workshop. I brought in the farmers, bankers, artisans, and I said to them, how can we use technologies to solve Nigeria's problems? Suffice to say that it never went anywhere. You know, this is the CIO after all. So the commercial people ask you, but what business do you have creating commercial constructs with our partners? Never worked. And one of the use cases we wanted to solve, what we wanted to solve for was in the north of Nigeria, that's where the produce comes from, coming down into Lagos, into the south. So trucks come with tons and tons of material, of goods, whether it's pounded yam and all of it. And they leave Lagos empty for huge, long travel, burning fuel empty. And we wanted to create use cases. That is a use case to automate it and create an aggregation of supplies that want to go back into the north with goods. So if we've got people in Lagos who come from the north, want to sell goods back home to the villages, want to use those trucks to aggregate the demand and do that. That was one of the use cases that we spent the whole day, we met the following day, we met the following week, mapping the routes, mapping what we need to be able to fix that particular problem. And then 2 years ago, one guy calls me and says, Oga, you know, that problem we wanted to fix, someone has fixed it today. That vision has been realized. There's a company today in Nigeria that does, you know, the Uberization of tracking businesses, logistics. Exactly the same thing. You know, so there's no reason why we can't do stuff like that here. There's no reason why you guys can come to MTN and say, this is who we are, this is what we have. And you, MTN, show us what you have. We'll double click on our business, we'll show you what these are our assets. We've got fintech, we've got payment, we've got this thing, we've got USSD platform, powerful platform, by the way. Let's do something together. So whether it's going to be the initiative of MTN or your association, I don't know. But every day I talk to a lot of people on co-creation. Tomorrow I'm meeting Blue Level Telecoms, if you know about them. They've got massive volume of integrated platforms to create a new solution together. I'm meeting MultiChoice. They've got insights on content consumption. They know which community consume which kind of content. Africans community like the following. So if you talk to them, they say, okay, maybe we can do something. So the opportunity to co-create is there. The question is just, do you have the will and the stamina to see the project through? And do you create models? And if it doesn't meet the following criteria, you kill the thing and then move to the next one. We're working with Stellenbosch University, the engineers there, the PhD students there. We fund them. They're creating agri-tech solutions. Massive, geyser optimization solutions, how to heat it, how to do these things, all funded by MTN. So you want to do those things, you give us the patent, we share the proceeds, we go to market, we pilot it. We would like to work with as many people as possible. Because out of all those 20 ideas, probably is only 3 that eventually makes commercial sense. Because, in the real world, ideas are not money, we test them, but you can create capabilities. You can come to me and say, UJ would like to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sponsor our students, our PhD students, electrical engineers, give us a cluster of 25 of them. What do they want to achieve? What tech platform do they want to build? Put money in them. So it's not the shortage of support. It is the proper structured manner of consumption of those resources. One software developer, one household can just remain a pipe dream unless there's a proper political will and a master who can drive it and make it to come to reality. Spectrum trading, we have just gone through a very rigorous auction. It was in the media. We paid about 5.4 billion rands. We secured about 100 megahertz, 3.5, 2.6, and I think the 800. And I think we're comfortable with that at the moment, But in terms of spectral assets, we're still far behind our peers, MTN in the group. Nigeria's got 100 megahertz on a 3.5. We've got 50. And we are the industrial scale market for 5G. We're the most industrialized economy in the continent. Manufacturing, ports, logistics. We have proper stuff where we need proper 5G to build private networks. This campus can be deployed on a private wireless network. Eliminate all this Wi-Fi and legacy technologies and get yourself on a private 5G landscape. Put Amazon on the edge and create new services for your students and build applications. While doing that, we signed about 14 MOUs with the mines. So we would like to have more spectrum. We would like to purchase. But that's not a discussion for today. Some discussions you have to know when you're going to discuss that. I think regulatory framework around hyperscalers and that. For instance, we are going through the hyperscaler project. And the questions that comes, the first thing they asked me, or when I was a group CTO, when I took it to the board, is that what about data privacy? Where will the data sit? When you say, well, Google maybe is this way, Microsoft this way, AWS is this way. Oh no, Microsoft is in South Africa. Okay, that sounds better. So regulatory framework is fluid, but there's a lot of work we can do in the space to try and improve. So we will always be biased for the deployment of hyperscaler frameworks in the local context. I think that makes more sense. So when we do a deal, we say to you, are you going to bring the infrastructure home? That's a bit more helpful because we've got scale. Certainly in Nigeria, no one's going to want the entire Nigeria IT infrastructure to move out somewhere where we don't know their data is gone, and also the creation of jobs and all of those things becomes problematic. So that's why they're investing very much in terms of data centers. Now, Tato asked very, very complex question. Now, social engineering and digital infrastructure. Look, we can do a lot to help society. I think there's a question that Prof also raised about what are we doing about social engineering, meaning, and I'm thinking social engineering, you don't mean in a security sense, where people actually cheat you and find your name to log into the data. I'm thinking you mean a construct of changing the society, right? Okay. Look, in the end, we are just a business. And we can only work with partners. But we are also, like I said, the ambition is very clear, social impact as a priority. When I ask my boss, Ralph Peter, and say, what do you want to be known for? He says, I want to be known for shared value, and I want to know that I've improved the lives of the people in the continent. That's it. So that's all I want to be known for. Because of course, underneath all that is matrices of EBITDA, growth, new platforms, but ultimately the biggest medal that he wants to wear on his neck is social impact. And I think we're doing a lot. I don't think we talk a lot about the things we're doing in society, the labs we're building. You know, e-school platform that we've launched, the new school we're gonna build with Makura and his team, data zero rating that we're giving to students, tons and tons of stuff that we're building. So we are, I'm personally burdened by the challenges of this country. You know, it really grieves my spirit when I see a deterioration. And I think, you know, I can do something about it. If you check my LinkedIn post this morning, you know, I quoted, you know, Theodore, and he makes a statement that, you know, when we over criticize corruption that every morning, oh, look at this corrupt people, oh, this one, this minister is doing. He says, what we do with that, you also create a cycle, you know, of cynicism, you know, indifference, and you numb the society. And the minute they hear a story on TV, they get so negative about corruption. You know what happens now? People change channels. Because people are heavily tired of hearing that kind of messaging. So I am completely burdened by it. And I'm always thinking, what is the positive spin to this thing? How about telling the good news a little bit more? You know, Makura called it countercurrents. I think the electrical engineering people will know. You know, he says we need a countercurrent. You know, this whole force and this whole wave of bad news every day, you know, that has been dragged into it. Not that it doesn't exist. And also get us into a state where instead of voting, we stay at home. Instead of participating, we become cynical. And the morale and the feelings of the mood of the nation start to lower. And then lawlessness and neglect of the environment start to happen. Because who cares? They're still living. Who cares? Because on Sunday, well, I'm going to read about the boss. Why must I worry myself about littering? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? We can. And as institutions like yourselves and the likes of MTN have a responsibility for countercurrent. We're not saying there's no challenges happening, but we're saying that we have only one country. And I think we can do something to push back against the wave of bad news and energize those people who have a spark. What if we just light it up? So we're doing a lot. And I am blessed that I have an opportunity to come and talk to you like that. I am truly in a privileged position to have an opportunity for people to leave their homes and spend the night to come and listen to. And that's why I take this opportunity very seriously. And I intend to use this platform for that. Countercurrents, drive positive messages, social good impact. After all, I come from a very humble background in the village where there's no running water and there was no electricity. So if you want to compete with me about poverty, my friend, I think I've got one up on you. So you don't have to. You don't have to tell me about the hardships every day. I know it. I've lived through it. Now I'm on a mission to counter. And I wish that we can remobilize ourselves towards that. Enough of all the bad news. Let them happen. Because in the end, man, there's very little you can do to stop some of the nonsense. Sure. But you can create your own way. And the way you will counter them. Anyway, let me not get too heavy on this one. Now, Tato, there's one question you raised that is a question that I need to sit down and write back the answer. Because the question was a little bit convoluted. It got me all over the place. Algorithm, disruptive technologies, and ethical. I mean, I'm not so sure if I really got it. So I'll say that, let me take the question offline with you, if you don't mind. I don't have to act all tough and think I can pick up your question. I'm happy to have a private discussion with you on that question. Is that okay? So I'm happy to give you my email address. You can come and have lunch with me. I think there's a lot I can learn from you. Okay? Yeah. Next question.
I think the name actually went opposite up. You started with the last one.
Okay. Oh, madam.
Yes.
Ah. I wrote your name, Lebogang. You say, how do you avoid fraud, right? I think it's almost the same question that Samuel asked. Look, we have a fraud tolerance threshold, like any other organization. So how much can you accept from you regulars? So we give a little bit of, when you give us something, because you can't do 100%, even if it's something that you don't. So the question is, how do you avoid it, right? It controls. And those controls come in many fashions. It's a simple thing. It starts first with a very basic password management. I'm sure you've got the same problem here. Sharing of passwords and user IDs. Start with stuff like that. And then it migrates straight into machine learning, validation, analytics, and all of them. But if you don't do the basics of just making sure that the people in the stores don't share username and password, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what you do. Because because they forget the password, they write it on a piece of paper, they put them on their desktop, they go for lunch, go to the mall, the person sitting next to them, I mean, when I was in Zambia, there's a point where I fired about almost 80 people all at once. Because you find out this one, the challenge is moving from year to year. It's a very difficult thing. It's a very difficult thing. Because airtime is money. This airtime sharing, people try to dupe us and then they share to this one and share to this one. By the time you catch them, the airtime is moved to about 50 people, who move to 50 people. You don't even know where to actually do the recovery. So it's very, very tough. The clawback is very, very difficult. I mean, I was when I was in Zambia with an issue on our fintech platform. And by the time you wake up in the morning, money is moved from this guy and this guy and this guy, and then this guy withdrew and then sent to these people. Tough. Then you need AML. You need platforms. You need analytics and thresholds that can notify you about user behavior. 24/7 monitoring of fraud. Because you can't just do system monitoring anymore. You do services monitoring. You look at the patterns of withdrawals on the fintech platform every day. We know that on average on a Monday, the withdrawals are this number. And we give you a range. The minute they go up, particularly, shut down the wallet. Shut down the wallet. Something is wrong. The banks do the same thing. So we see something happening in your account. What's going on? So we build those, but you build up over time because the customer says, no, but I'm the one doing the withdrawal. You learn and the models start to learn. But to do that, you need the skills from the banks. Because they've been doing this game for a long time. Okay, sir.
Great. I want you to rest. You have been speaking for quite a while, but thank you very much. Thank you very much. President Hay, Angus Hay. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President. To our guest speaker tonight, Mr. Charles Molapisi. You've told us a lot about big data and about the analytics that go with it, and I think it's very much aligned with the theme that our president has chosen for this year, and I think we've all realized just how deep those analytics go. I've been in the telecoms industry for about 25 years, and I've recently moved on to building data centers. And I've realized now that the infrastructure of data centers, which we're building across Africa, is going to house huge amounts of data. I mean, just some of the numbers that were mentioned. I saw a figure of 3 trillion records. Right? We have an extraordinary amount of data that we have to deal with. And I think that it's been very educational to see just how much value can be extracted from that data. Just an aside, one of the other roles that I have is as the director of the number portability company. So I do want to verify something that you said right at the beginning, is that you can change providers. except of course for those of you who buy Sims every time. We learned this evening that in your introduction that it's less crowded in the extra mile, and I think that's that's a lesson for all of us, and also that in the goals of MTN that everybody deserves that connected life that we're all moving towards. But to speak a little bit about the subject matter, your comment that the future is about software. I thought that when you link that to the examples within MTN, so particularly your fintech businesses, your mobile money businesses, and the idea that you can build a business out of the monetization of data. So essentially, that data lake out there is essentially a source of value. And I think just the concept that the data itself can create value and can create jobs and can create revenue and can create development is a very important thought for us as we stand today, because we always think of infrastructure as being the creation of value, and yet we have lakes of data that can directly create value. I was fascinated by the idea that you can create a segment of one, right down to the point of knowing exactly which village you want to send your money to at 3 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. It's a fascinating thought that a businesses can know so much about you that perhaps you don't even know yourself. The guidance, which I think is probably good guidance for most businesses today, of collect as much data as you can, and the patterns will emerge from that data, and the value will emerge from the data that you collect. And I think, just looking at what MTN has done, it's a fascinating journey to see how the value and the growth has emerged from the data that MTN has. So I think in closing, just to recognize that it's very good to see what MTN has been doing. It's also great to see, I think, for our industry, within the broader electrical engineering industry, so much of what we're doing is moving towards software, is moving towards data science. It's great to see that MTN has been contributing towards the development of data science, and particularly the growth and training that you're doing in-house as MTN. And I think just in closing, what we'd like to do is thank you for sharing your data with us. And we'd like to share a small amount of data with you. This is a very old-fashioned way, for those of you who know what's in this package, this is a very old-fashioned way of sharing data, but this is some data which has been produced by the South African Institute of Electrical Engineers and some of our members. And we'd like to share some of our data with you in the old-fashioned way. Thank you.
Thank you very much once again, members and guests. And without much ado, I'm going to ask that you join us for drinks outside. But before that, let me thank the university for hosting us. Thank you very much. The annual President's Invitation Lecture has always been kindly hosted by UJ, and of course, your sister university across hosts another key event of ours. And we are very grateful to UJ that we were able to come back here in person. So thank you very much for that. I'll just, the ladies, thank you very much. We are appreciating this. And also for the AV system, thank you very much. And the ones that have joined us online, thank you very much. And then I would like to invite you to snacks and drinks outside. Okay. Come join us. One for the
Did you close it? Okay, let me just close here.
Bye-bye, colleagues.